Have you ever heard of a book that was almost in the Bible? One that's filled with stories of rogue angels, giant cannibals, and some seriously wild cosmic secrets? Well, today we're diving into the apocalyptic epic that is the Book of Enoch. And it all kicks off with this one shocking proposal made among the sons of heaven. This single idea, right here, sets in motion a celestial crime that is going to completely scar the earth. And yeah, it's going to require a divine reset of truly biblical proportions. So let's get into it. How did this heavenly rebellion actually play out down here on the ground? This first part of the story is all about the angels who came down, the crazy oath they swore, and the absolute chaos they unleashed on humanity. 200. That's the number. 200 of these heavenly angels, known as the Watchers, gathered together on a mountain. And there, they swore a binding oath, basically cursing themselves if any of them backed out, to see this forbidden plan all the way to the end. But see, their sin was so much bigger than just taking human wives. They started corrupting humanity by teaching them secrets from heaven that we were never, ever supposed to know. Things like warfare, vanity, sorcery, astrology. I mean, these weren't gifts, they were cosmic spoilers. This book presents this radical idea that evil wasn't just born from human choice, but that it was actually taught to us by these celestial beings. And that kind of shifts the blame, doesn't it? Now, in the middle of all this growing chaos, heaven needed a witness, a messenger. And this is where we meet our protagonist, Enoch. He's a mortal man who gets chosen by God for a journey that is, and I mean this, unlike any other. So Enoch basically becomes God's special investigator. He gets pulled right off the earth and is given this guided tour of the entire cosmos. And his mission? It's to see with his own two eyes the perfect, lawful order of God's creation, and then to see the absolutely terrifying consequences waiting for anyone who defies it. And wow, the contrast Enoch saw was just stark. On one hand, you've got the throne of God, this place of unbelievable fiery glory, where all the stars follow their laws perfectly. And then on the other hand, you've got the prisons for the fallen, just desolate, empty, terrifying voids made specifically to hold the rebel angels who broke all the rules. But okay, while Enoch is off touring the cosmos, the result of the Watcher's sin is running absolutely rampant back on Earth. The consequences, you see, weren't just spiritual, they were physical, and they were monstrous. The children born from this union of angels and women were called the Nephilim, and these were not some kind of half-divine heroes. No, they were ravenous giants, a monstrous hybrid species that basically embodied the twisting of heaven's law right here on Earth. Okay, so to put this in perspective for you, a cubit is roughly the length from your elbow to the tip of your middle finger. Now, the exact measurement is kind of debated, but we're talking about creatures of a truly terrifying, almost skyscraper-like scale. I mean, a size that the world just could not handle. And their appetite? It absolutely matched their size. These giants consumed everything humanity produced. They ate the crops, the livestock, all the world's resources. They were literally stripping the planet bare until there was just nothing left to give them. So what happens when an insatiable monster runs out of food? This is where the story takes a really horrifying turn. With nothing else left to eat, the giants began to prey on the very people whose work had fed them. They started to devour humanity itself. All the violence, the consumption, the blood, this whole planetary crisis did not go unnoticed. The cries reached heaven, and a final, sweeping judgment was decreed for the rebels, for their offspring, and for the corrupted world they had created. So the judgment came in 4 devastating waves. First, the earth itself, totally ravaged, cried out for justice. In response, archangels hunted down the rebel Watchers and bound them in eternal darkness. Then, the giant monsters were annihilated, but their spirits were cursed to stay behind, wandering the earth as evil forces. And finally, to wash away every last trace of this corruption, God unleashed the Great Flood, a total reset for a world that had gone completely wrong. But even after the judgment, Enoch's work still wasn't done. He was given one final glimpse into the restored divine order and was tasked with preserving all these cosmic secrets for all time. Part of what he saw was just how organized heaven is. He learned the names and the duties of the key archangels who serve God and keep the cosmos in order. Michael, the merciful one, Raphael, the healer, Gabriel, the one in charge of power, and Phanuel, who oversees repentance. This was the very system that the Watchers had rebelled against. You see,
Enoch's ultimate purpose was to be a scribe. He recorded everything he was shown: the laws of the stars, the workings of creation, the history of the rebellion, the final judgment, all of it, in 366 books. He preserved all this forbidden knowledge, not to corrupt people, but to enlighten future generations, right before he was finally transformed and taken from the earth forever.
So what are we supposed to make of this whole epic story? Is it like a lost prequel to the flood story we all know, trying to explain where evil really came from? Or is it more of a timeless warning about the dangers of forbidden knowledge? I mean, the fact that it was excluded from most Bibles suggests its ideas were maybe a little too radical, a little too challenging to the main story. But the fact that it survived at all tells us that some secrets, well, they're just too powerful to stay buried forever.